Okay, good morning, traders. Today is January 14th, 2025. My name is John Kerrigan. I moderate the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. All right, so my SPY pivot this morning is 576.69. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. All of the Fab Five are in daily downtrends still. All made lower lows, lower highs, closing below their traps under their 17 EMAs. SPY closed with 2-hour downtrend. It was fighting it off at the end of the day. And a 10-minute uptrend. Gold in a downtrend made a lower low and a lower high, closing inside a bullish trap over the 17. Silver in a downtrend made a lower low and a lower high, closing over a bullish trap under the 17. USO, UNG, both in uptrends. UNG made an outside day. It's a higher high and a lower low, while USO made a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. US dollar index still in an uptrend, closed near the 109.66 area. All right, let's go take a look at some charts this morning. All right, first chart we'll look at SPY on the 10-minute. You can see coming into the close, that's the shaded section right here. Coming into the close, we had ourselves the thin yellow line, that's the 3 EMA, and the candle is up over the white line and the yellow and the green dots. Okay, that's the 17 EMA. So got a 10-minute uptrend going into the close. All I'm looking for is a continuation of just a continuation of this 10-minute uptrend. So looking for a nice green candle. Okay, and it can't be a doji candle, and it can't be a topping tail candle. I don't want a red candle because that tells me the bears are in charge at the moment. All right, so I'm looking for a 10-minute candle, looking for a nice green candle to continue that 10-minute uptrend. We'll see what happens this morning. On the 2-hour chart, coming into the close, that's the shaded section. You can see we had the candle and the yellow 3 EMA underneath the white line and the red dots. This has got a 2-hour downtrend. See the 2-hour, see the space between the 3 and the 8? Got ourselves a 2-hour downtrend coming into the close here. Look like they're about to close it out. They closed it out in the pre-market. We'll see if they did produce a higher low, a higher high right here in the pre-market. But notice we could not get that done yesterday in the regular session. So we could be heading lower down to 570. We'll see what happens. So that's 2-hour chart. On the daily chart, lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap underneath the falling 17 EMA. For the game plan, let's take a look at the game plan this morning. All right, so my SPY pivot, 576.69. That's right about here. You can see price action comes down to this and gets rejected each time. All right, so price action. So above that, I want to be a bull. Below that, I want to be a bear. So red takes out green. All right, right down here below 575.60. That's where I want to be a bear. On the bullish side, okay, you can see we had our 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. So I'm looking for a nice green candle over 581. You can see price action got up here and stopped a couple times. So if they can get up over 581, I'm looking for, that would be green erases red. All right, so there's green erases red, and this is red erases green down here. So over 581, and the options that I like Friday options. So that was going to be 3 DTE or 10 DTE. And I like them $2 to $5 out of the money because they're a little bit cheaper. And that is the the Tuesday morning SPY game plan. Let's go take a look at QQQ. See what we can come up with on QQQ for a game plan. All right, so QQQ, let's move the pivot down to this area right here where price action found some support. So that's 599. Let's move this. Red erases green right underneath that right there. So that's going to be 500.08. So we're going to change this to 50.08. Okay, that's red erases green. And for the bullish entry, let's change this to 501 or 500.99 right there. And for the bullish, looking for price action up over 504.97. So this is our QQQ game plan. 504.97. And we'll back that off right there. Okay, so those are our numbers this morning. 504.97 and underneath 500. All right, so that's the QQQ game plan. Let's take a look at it on the 10-minute. Of course, they had a 10-minute uptrend going into the close, and the 2-hour, they had a 2-hour downtrend coming into the close, just like SBY. On the daily chart, let's pick up a clean chart right here. All right, on the daily chart, you can see lower high, lower low, closing underneath the bearish strap, underneath the falling 17, underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP right here. That's the blue line. Okay, so QQQ still in a downtrend, but still kind of bullish on the northern side of the midpoint here. Let's take a look at IWM. So here's IWM putting in lower high, lower low, closing under the trap, under the 17. As you can see, price action. Maybe found some support down here. You can see we got some major support, and you can see there's a challenge of that major support, and we got lower than that. So still in a downtrend for IWMs. Take a look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow, lower high, lower low, closing, actually closing inside the bearish strap under the falling 17 on Diamond Dow. Price action finding support right here at major support. Okay, right there at 517.50 right there. So there's Diamond Dow finding support right here at the midpoint. Still in a downtrend. Lower high, lower low, closing inside the trap but under the falling 17s. Take a look at FNGU. All right, FNGU, lower high, lower low, closing under the trap, under the 17, and underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. So price action a little bit bullish than the rest of the indices, hanging out here in the upper third. So big tech kind of holding on for FNGU. So FNGU is looking strongest out of probably all of the Fab 5. Let's take a look at our technicals. Start off with T2122. We found ourselves not going into the oversold zone yesterday. Price action kind of just meandered around, chopped around inside the sell zone. At the end of the day, we found ourselves inside the seller's chop zone, headed back towards the midpoint. There's T2122. T2123, selling at the beginning of the day, got ourselves a double bottom, and from there we had a little... I don't know. It was like it was a rally, but it was kind of a subdued rally. So like more of a melting up. So we had a little melting up at the end of the day, T2123. And I said this would probably be, watch for the rubber band price action down here. You got the double bottom, and you can see now this is a prior all-time high. You can probably see price action come back up here and test the backside of this all-time high. I think it's going to shoot through. I think they're going to fill this gap, and I think they're probably going to fill this gap, probably even shoot through up to the 200. We'll see. All right, we'll see. Overnight in the pre-market and the post-market price action, things were looking kind of bullish up there. All right, they did make. In the pre-market, they did make a higher high, but I didn't see, they couldn't do it in the regular session. All right, same chart again, but a 3-bar chart. All right, you can see the big bear flag and then the breakdown right here at the end of the bear flag, melting right into this prior all-time high. See price action candles underneath the falling 17, underneath a flat 200. I think we get a bounce sometime this week. I don't know when. Maybe it's coming today. maybe it comes tomorrow. We'll see what happens. There's T2123. FNGU, red almost from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, coming down here and finding some support right there, right around 536.53. So not much of a bounce off of there, just a kind of a moved flat. That really was a bear flag. All of the bounce happened in the post market, so I'm not sure what that's about. Notice they couldn't fill the gap yesterday. That's not a good sign for the bulls if they can't fill the gap. That's great for T2123. They look like they've already initiated their bounce, but you look back here on FNGU, we still got an open gap here that didn't get filled. They filled it in the overnight, but not in the regular session. That's not good. All right, so we'll see if we got some rubber band price action coming down here on FNGU, or if they can just rally off of this area right here and shoot back up towards this falling 200 SMA right there. That's that. It's the 15-minute chart. There's our 200 SMA from the 15-minute chart. Notice, you got a bearish gap here. All right, that spells weakness. Anytime the bulls can't fill the gaps, all right, that spells weakness. It's got another bearish gap here. Again, we failed to fill it yesterday. So we'll see what happens this morning. Price action currently has left the gap open. So they're not coming all the way up here. So we'll see what happens. So there's FNGU. Let's take a look at a few sectors. We'll start off with oil and gas. Oil and gas, well, actually, let's start off with the energy sector. XLE. XLE's in a downtrend, but definitely not moving down. XLE had a nice strong candle yesterday coming back to the midpoint and back to this all-time high anchored VWAP right there. I would expect this to probably get rejected up here. It's the first time it's been here for a while. I think it gets rejected back to the uptrend line, and then I think we get a J-hook pattern back up through. And I think the second time we make it up there, creating a nice little head and shoulders pattern that I expect to fail. All right, that's what I'm looking for. All right, so but XLE in a downtrend because they make in lower lows. All right, but definitely not moving down, moving up here. Okay, but still stuck in a downtrend because they haven't created any pivot for them to beat out yet. They have to actually come all the way up here and take out this pivot, unless, of course, they create a lower high right through here, and I think we J-hook up and take out that high and convert the downtrend into an uptrend. So there's XLE. Let's move on over to UNG. Okay, UNG gapped up huge yesterday. It was way up here, but you can see UNG putting in an outside day yesterday. Higher high, lower low, closing over the trap, over the rising 17, up here in quadrant 4. So UNG on fire, very bullish. All right, I don't expect them to hold this area for long. I expect probably some pullback to support. I'd expect something like maybe around here, maybe even around here. So if they hold this area, that'll be great. I don't expect it. I can see the pullback already coming right here. So there's UNG looking to reload right here on support. That would be anywhere in this area here, 1550, 1650, and maybe even, yes, between 1650 and 1550 is where I'm looking to reload on some UNG. Don't know if I'll get it. We'll see what happens. But I bought some calls here and unloaded them in this rally and on this rally here. So there's some UNG. Let's take a look at USO. This is crude oil, petroleum. All right, USO, higher low, higher high, closing over bullish trap over the 17. I need this to cool off some. This is like way too hot. Those numbers are way too hot. I'm expecting this to kind of pull back to support. I think they'll act like they find support here at 78.57, but I think they'll probably spike down to this area, to this midpoint, and probably find some value right here near 75. I don't know if they can hold this area. It'll be interesting if they can. They're going to have to hold it for 3 or 4 days. I don't think they can hold it for more than 4 days. We'll see what happens. It's been a while since we've been up here. I'm expecting a lot of people, all of these buyers here, to start unloading, especially at 82. So we'll see what happens. But definitely in a nice uptrend. Just like to see like maybe a couple weeks of consolidation kind of cool off here. Right? Maybe pull back to this 70, 78.50 area. I don't expect that to hold. I expect them to come back here and probably spike this area right here. We'll see what happens. All right. So there's USOs. Take a look at precious metals. All right, silver. Silver down in quadrant 3. Gold's up in quadrant. I think gold's in quadrant 4. Gold's in quadrant 3. We'll see what happens. So here's silver down here in quadrant 2. All right, price action for silver, lower high, lower low, closing under bullish trap underneath the 17 EMA, underneath the 12-year high anchored VWAPs. Silver moving up, giving it up, just kind of actually neutral bearish right through here in quadrant 2. All right, so there's silver. Let's take a look at gold. Gold's looking a whole lot better. Notice gold up here in quadrant 4. All right, up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, so that's pretty good right there. When you're up over the all-time high anchored VWAP, silver could have done it up over the 12-year high anchored VWAP, but they just don't have it in them right now. So here's gold, lower high, lower low, closing inside bullish trap, but over the 17 EMA. Gold looking stronger out of the two precious metals at the moment. Okay, we've got a triple crown up here. All right, be careful for that. That could come falling down. All right, be careful on that one. So there's gold. Like to see him hold this higher ground. We've been up here once or twice. You can see we could not hold it. All right, so again, we were up there Friday, and this is Monday. You can see we couldn't hold it on Friday. All right, so maybe we just start slowly melting up. Like to see some consolidation get put in over 250. It's a big, tall ask. I think they can do it, though. There's gold. Maybe if we got a dip in the dollar, that would be nice. All right, gold could probably get something done with that. All right, so there's gold on the daily charts. Take a look at a few sectors. SMH. All right, try it again. SMH. All right, SMH well, they took out the low, so now they're in a downtrend again. They were in an uptrend. Price action closing over all-time high anchored VWAP. Price action closing in the upper third. Neutral bullish here on SMH. All right. Still consolidating in this bull flag. Move up and over to the right. So I don't know if they're going to take as long as the XRT. That's our retail sector. Retail sector seemed to consolidate for about 9-10 months. You can see we've got a good head start already. It's October and we're almost through January, or we're halfway through January. Okay, so we've got a 1, 2, 3, almost a 4-month start going on like XRT. So there's SMH consolidating, but consolidating over the prior all-time high. So that's kind of bullish up there, right there, up there in the upper third. So there's SMH, XLK. All right, XLK, neutral bullish up in the upper third up here. Again, in a downtrend, but it's only in a downtrend because it took out these lows right here. But all in all, the move up keeps it in neutral bullish area. Notice it's in the upper third. Couldn't maintain this area up here. But hasn't given all of this up. Now, if it comes all the way back to 204.94, I'd say it went up and it gave it up. That'd be just kind of neutral at that point. But still holding up here. So that's a nice look for XLK. Looking good on XLK and SMH. All right. Don't know when we get a breakout for either one of them, but I think we need some consolidation for a couple months. Here's a month for, actually 2 months, 2.5 months for XLK. SMH, of course, you saw almost has 4. All right, so there's XLK. Let's take a look at XLI and XLU, both in downtrends, kind of flirting with the midpoint here. Caught underneath their all-time high anchored VWAPs and their falling 17s. Nice candle for XLI right here. Okay, outside day, but still nice candle if that's really what it is. Got themselves a lower low and a higher high, but closing over the bearish trap and darn near taking out the falling 17 there. So there's XLI on the daily chart, looking a little bit more healthy. Then the XLU. XLU, you can see, has given up the midpoint and closed underneath it right there. Again, lower high, lower low, closing underneath a bearish trap, underneath the falling 17, underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. Both XLI and XLU are in downtrends. They took out some of those prior lows, made a lower low that put them in a downtrend. That's XLU and XLI. Let's take a look at XLF. All right, XLF, here's a low. They made a lower low, all right, so that puts them in a downtrend. I call it a pullback. If they take out this, that would be a downtrend, but XLF on the daily chart, you can see price action. Giving a little bounce today. Can't remember, we got some financials reporting tomorrow. Got ourselves a lower high and a lower low, closed underneath bearish trap, underneath the falling 17, underneath an all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, maybe those earnings can flip this around. We'll see what happens. This is XLF. Still in an uptrend, hasn't broken this low. Is starting to fill the gap here. Got a little bit more to go to fill that gap. All right, so there's XLF. Let's take a look at XRT. XRT going up, giving it up, just neutral now on the retail sector. Lower high, lower low, closing it. Is that yesterday? Got to make sure. Lower high, lower low, closing it underneath the bearish trap, underneath the falling 17. Almost taking out this low here. Got a low here. They made a lower low. We have a low here. So once they take that out, they'll be in a downtrend. This is simply a pullback for me right here. Once they take out this low, that's a downtrend there. So there's XRT moving up, giving it up. They were up in quadrant 4 holding, and they lost it right there. So there's XRT. Last one, IYT. Transports, still in a downtrend. Transports, yesterday's price action, lower high, lower low. Closing under the trap, under the 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, flirting with the midpoint. All right, IYT still in a downtrend. Going to need something to have a decent rally. We're going to need the financials and either transports, or we're going to need technology and semiconductors. Right now, semiconductors and technology look like the best candidate. Transports got a lot of work to do. So we'll see what happens here. Financials looks like it's going to be financials and technology. We'll see if we can get it done. All right. Still a lot of work to be done. We won't know till probably after tomorrow, or probably by the end of this week, after some of those financials report this week. Let's go take a look at our economic package. All right, you can see the dollar still in an uptrend. That's not good. All right, higher lows and higher highs. Closing up here near the 109.66.65 area. All right, on the economic calendar, we've got PPI final demand at 8:30 today. A couple of Fed speakers, and that's it. Tomorrow's the main event, CPI at 8:30 in the morning. That's inflation. Empire State Manufacturing Index, 8:30. Petroleum report at 10, and a beige book at 2. Thursday, jobless claims, 8:30. Retail sales, 8:30. Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, 8:30. Import-export prices, 8:30. business inventories 10, and a housing market index at 10, and a gas report at 10:30. Okay, so the main event's tomorrow, CPI at 8:30. So you probably want to be hedged on all on your portfolio coming into tomorrow morning, because if you've got options, those options don't open up till after CPI reports. All right, so think about hedging yourself tonight before, at least before 4:15 p.m. this evening. For earnings. All right, for earnings, we've got some familiar names, but nothing that's going to move the markets. For earnings tomorrow, JP Morgan Chase, $675 billion. They're going to report in the morning. Wells Fargo, $232 billion in the morning. Citigroup, $135 billion in the morning. BlackRock, $148 billion in the morning. Schwab, still thinking about it. And that's about it right there. So a lot of financial sectors going to start moving tomorrow. Thursday, Taiwan Semiconductor, not sure when they're going to report, but they are over $1 trillion. United Healthcare, about $500 billion. They're going to report in the morning on Thursday. Bank of America is going to follow up Wednesday's reports for the financial sector. Bank of America, $346 billion. They're going to report Thursday morning. Morgan Stanley, $198 billion. They're going to report Thursday morning. Other than that, get some PNC Financial, U.S. Bancorp, M&T Bank, First Horizon. Again, some more financials going to be reporting. So Wednesday and Thursday is going to be going to start us off with the financial sector. All right, let's take a look at Friday. Friday, we're going to have more financials. Truist Financial, and some familiar names, Citizens Financial, Wall Street, State Street Corporation. All right, so you can see some more financials coming in, but nothing that's going to move the markets, all right, on Friday. For Monday, familiar names, but nothing that's going to move the markets. So the big day is going to be the financials on Wednesday and Thursday. All right, for Max Payne for today, let's refresh. Well, Max Payne is 580. All right, not sure if we get to 580, but Max Payne is 580, and one put for each call. All right, so that wraps it up for me for today. You got the SPY game plan, you got the QQQ game plan. Looking for some rubber band price action on T2123. We'll see if we get that. And FNGU got a bearish gap to get filled. All right, so looking for that gap to get filled on FNGU. If that gets done, maybe the bulls are in charge finally. All right, see some rubber band price action in T2123. If we start heading back towards the all-time high, prior all-time high on T2123, that'd be this green line here. All right, looking to fill that gap. Okay, if they start filling that gap, it's a possibility they start finding their way back up to this 200 SMA. So we could find ourselves having a green candle this week in SPY if price action manages to find some support or some rubber band price action to bounce back towards this 200 SMA. All right, that's it. I'll see you guys in about 45 minutes. Good morning, Chip, and we will kick off the markets. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for finding value in my content here. Appreciate all my members. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks, Brad.